Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toy Geeks. My name is Jake Gladfelder from Geek Dad Life.
And I'm Dan Larson from Secret Galaxy, finding out right now. This is my reaction when I find out we're actually live.
Yeah, exactly. Live.
Glad I brushed my hair.
Yeah, I said it in the text and whatever.
You probably
It'd be
did.
live.
You probably did. I just saw Jay. Okay, whatever. I'll read that later.
Sorry, this went a little bit later. I assumed Monday would be the 9, but then I realized I never told Dan because we usually record at 9:30. So
I literally had like nothing going on today, so I could have done it at like 2 p.m. today. It's no big deal.
So for those that are watching this live, sorry for the delay. It's my fault. But excited to be here to close out Dungeons and Dragons 1984, and it's kind of a fun year because you've got some good releases still, but it definitely is kind of the end. We also have some unreleased figures, and big ups to Allison Troy, who does our research. She teed up a little slideshow of like the unreleased stuff, so we can get into that. And last week, our special guest, Thomas, he had kind of time constraints, so we didn't get to do the price game, the name that original retail price game. So Dan, I know how much you love that segment, so we're gonna move that to today.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
But
I'm gonna be wrong anyway. It doesn't matter when we do it.
But anywho, Dan, so you were not a collector through and through when this was on the shelves, right?
No, I picked it up real late. I didn't know it was out there when it initially was released. Way too much stuff going on at the time. Like I think I told the story last time that somebody in the neighborhood just kind of turned up with these figures. And I think Grimsword was the first one that I had ever actually seen. It was just like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. This thing is just an amazing thing that, like, you know, as far as comparing it to Star Wars or G.I. Joe, you know, maybe it fits in with Masters of the Universe, but pretty much nothing else that I had in my collection. So that and Warduke were just like, yes, I'm in. But where were you going to find them? You know, like as far as where I was going to buy this stuff, they were already at like the Ollie's of the day, you know. I don't even remember where that was for us. I think it was like Christmas Tree Shop or something in Rhode Island, in Middletown, Rhode Island. And I remember seeing an end cap of those figures, and it was like young male Titan, and you know, we didn't talk about any of the like Bendy figures, but it was like the monster Bendy figures and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
figured today too we can kind of do a quick run through of the Bendy figures and the miniatures to kind of round out this toy line. And it's also, you know, I don't know, next time we'll get into LJN. But you know, I just think in retrospect, LJN did a solid job. But what we didn't talk about last week, though, was the cartoon series. Were you a watcher of the cartoon series? Did you see the cartoon series?
Oh yeah, for sure. It was definitely something we check out on Saturday mornings. I'm finding more and more, especially through our channel, you know, as we cover different sitcoms and cartoons and movies and whatever, how little of the stuff I actually saw back then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was an issue of scheduling or just my being involved in other things, because if you'd ask me, I would say like, yeah, I spent every day after school watching cartoons, before school watching cartoons, after school watching cartoons, weekends, cartoons. But, you know, when I really look at the episodes of like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, I'm like, I think I saw like 5 episodes, maybe 6. Like I never saw any of the ones that had Warduke, and I know Warduke was in like 2 episodes or something.
Sure.
But I really did not see as much, or I didn't retain it, one or the other. It's just like going back and looking at it now, I'm like, man, it's also new.
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
well, it's funny you bring that up, because sometimes I have that as well, of just you at least for me, like I kind of have out for every show that I really liked as a kid, I maybe can only clock, again, to your point about like 5 or 7 episodes, maybe some that I had on tape that I could watch multiple times. Versus now kids, at least just with my kids, like it's all streaming of every episode ever, and you can kind of rewatch and go through it.
And we're stuck in that sort of weird middle period where, you know, we had all this stuff that we grew up watching as a community, right? Like there were so few channels, everybody was watching the same stuff. And so when you get into the 90s and get into the 2000s, well, I'm a little older than you. When you get into the, you know, I'm in college 94 to 98 and get into the early 2000s, I would have, if the streaming technology, if YouTube, if all of this stuff existed back then the way it is now, I would have been watching all of these shows around the clock, 24 hours a day, getting caught back up, because that was still a time where I was just still so hungry for anything, any of this stuff to come back. And you couldn't find anything anywhere. Somebody pulls up a VHS tape that has a couple episodes on it. Everybody's like, we got to go watch it like right now. And so I miss all that. Like, that doesn't come around until the 2010s, at the earliest, and at that point, I'm not at the place anymore where I'm like, I want to spend all my time watching, 35-year-old cartoons. Episode or two, good. Yep. No, that's all right. There's the episode I remember. Cool. Moving on.
No, you're right. Talk about the tapes. Or if you go to a friend's house and they have like a taped episode that you haven't got to watch, it's like, oh my god, let's go. I don't think
anybody mentioned it in chat here yet, but like Toonami, like all of that. Oh,
sure.
When they started running Transformers and Voltron and everything else, it was just like, oh my god, it's back.
Yeah.
But that wasn't on demand.
Or even I had one early. This is before streaming, but when they in the early 2000s they started putting collections of animated series on DVD. At that point, did you have this? I'm going to go back and watch. And did you also have actually that wasn't as good as I thought it was, because for me, remember they put Transformers, they had these like silvery box sets. I was like, oh my god, Transformers, I haven't watched this in 20 years, and I put it on, or I guess it was only 10 years at that point, whatever, but and I was like, actually this isn't very good, I don't like this. Did you have
I never bought any of them because all my money went to action figures.
Okay, all right.
Action figures are more important to me than getting caught up on anything else. It was action figures, comic books, everything. Like food was down here. Gas for my car was down here. Everything, action figures, comic books, everything else. Maybe depending on when you ask, if I had a cat, it was like, well, the cat's got to get fed before me. I'll go feed the cat before I feed myself. But I will say I lived in upstate New York for a couple of years, around 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. And I had to work at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And for whatever reason, at like 4:30, they were running G.I. Joe, Real American Hero cartoons. And that's the first time I had really taken some time to like be focused on it and watch it. And quality wise, it was still fine for what it was. And I have to admit that as much as I don't like admitting that, I'm also subject to that, pull of nostalgia. It's when you hear the sound effects and you see the voices and the different interactions and the animations, you get sucked into it. And it was just sort of a nice, cool, fun, relaxing way to like, oh, okay, start the day now, go to my stupid job,
So this is another theory that I have about this whole, because you mentioned streaming and how if you were a kid, you've been watching this constantly. If you would have had streaming as a kid, would you have cared as much about the action figures? Because for me, since I couldn't just watch my episodes on repeat nonstop, I had to like, okay, I got to go create my own adventures with my action figures now. Versus my kids, there's like, I'm going to watch Bluey for 2 hours straight, and I don't need to stop to make my own adventures.
That's tough to say. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Hard to say. I think having grown up at a time when the tangible thing was so important, there was no other outlet. There were no video games for it. There was no, I couldn't play. The G.I. Joe Atari game was not on the same scale as anything else that you can play today.
Exactly.
It's possible if, games that exist now, if Fortnite existed back then, that might have been enough gameplay, toy playing for me, just as I feel like it is with a lot of kids today. That sort of substitutes for that, sit down and actually bash your action figures together, or throw them off the staircase or whatever. Hard to say. Not sure.
Because to me, it's like people are like, oh, kids don't play with toys anymore. It's like, well, kids, and it's not so much about like, oh, they're just on their iPads all day or whatever. And sure, that is to a certain extent, but even if they're not on their iPads all day, they just have access to like unlimited content.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, without getting into the bigger sort of subject of streaming content and how it's sort of broken apart, these generational kinds of things. I'm sure you have the experience now where you go like, I'm going to watch something, and you bring up Netflix or Prime or whatever, and you spend 20 minutes looking for something. That was the activity you participated in. Back then it was, what am I going to watch? What's on? If it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's G.I. Joe, and that's what everybody's watching because there's nothing else. You have no other choice. Either that or go outside, and if you're going outside, you're gonna play G.I. Joe anyway.
Right.
So
or it's like G.I. Joe ends, like, well, I don't want it to end, I'm gonna go keep the adventures going outside or whatever.
But there were fewer things to choose from and fewer things to spend time on, and it's hard to say in a world where there are infinite choices and it's devices you can take anywhere you want to and watch pause it, whatever, every episode. It's, you're not going to be watching the same thing I'm going to be watching.
Yeah.
I may never watch that thing again. There's just so much stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just, it's fascinating and it's something that I just ponder about sometimes. I don't know why, but that's what I do. But I guess getting back to the Dungeons and Dragons of it all, and back to that, some shows don't hold up. I feel like this cartoon series is one of those ones that people cite as like, oh, it holds up. It's still really good. Do you go to that column of it's still good?
Yeah, I can't. I honestly can't say for sure. I haven't watched enough of it to say whether it is or is not.
You didn't watch the whole series for your Secret Galaxy video?
Well, as far as how I spend my free time, not really. No. Because you watched it as a kid, 20 years go by, you sort of check back in with it and you go like, that's neat or all whatever. And then you still go on and there's other things to watch. There's other things to be interested in. And, as far as the way our channel runs now, it's like, if I'm not talking about Dungeons and Dragons that week, I'm not even thinking about Dungeons and Dragons that week. I sort of went through enough cycles of like, okay, I touched base with it 5 years later. Oh, okay, I touched base with it. It just sort of like all of it just kind of like exists now, like I've already passed through, and I'm glad that like social media didn't exist at the time. I've already passed through that era of everything sucks, like everything that, back then, oh, this cartoon sucked. Why can't it be as good as this? Whatever else. Like now it's just like, well, it just exists, like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon exists, and there's things that are good about it. And there's things that are not as good as might be if it came out today. But I don't know. I can tell you this. I love the movie that came out a few years ago.
It's such a good movie.
All I was missing was Warduke.
Right? I mean, because you had the cameo of like the cartoon show characters in the movie, which was cool. That was a lot of fun. But it's wild, like for a movie that honestly I think is one of the better action movies of the past decade or whatever, didn't have Warduke in it.
Yeah.
Or Tiamat.
I wish that it had performed better, to at least had a second, a sequel, some kind of follow-up where they could have course corrected. Not that I think it was a problem, but there's sort of two mindsets there. There's the have fun with it and sort of try to recreate that gameplay experience, which is what I think they were doing.
Yes.
Versus no, I want a realistic interpretation of the narrative of the thing we played.
Yep.
It's over, and now I just want to see that dramatic Lord of the Rings style film.
Well, it's funny. Our last week's guest, we had Thomas Gwynn, who sculpted a phenomenal Warduke and many others in the NECA toy line for NECA. And I think he was in that column of just like, I want like Lord of the Rings, with D&D characters. Where both you and I are like, well, I like the other way better.
Yeah. But I think it's been done before too. There's been other TV shows and stuff. There's been other comedies that did go for that. Like, no, this is just LARPing or actual, role play kind of stuff that I think. And yes, as Mike points out in chat, there was a very serious Lord of the Rings style D&D movie that did not do very well.
Wait, there was?
It was. I think it was in the 90s. It had a couple of stars in it.
Did it?
Yeah.
This is a total memory hole for me.
Yeah, not great.
Let's see. Dungeons and Dragons.
It was.
How do I even do that? Like serious movie? I don't know. How do I Google
Alison
that?
Troy says it's 2002.
2002?
Yeah, there. 2000.
2000. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
oh, this does look very.
Jeremy
serious.
Irons, Marlon Wayans.
Wow.
Very serious actors.
Oh, so yeah, some of these images are very interesting. Okay.
It's still in that sort of choppy era of CG. You know, it is post Jurassic Park, but you know, everybody's still trying to cut that budget and cheat it.
I wonder
not even as good as Dragonheart.
That's pretty low. I will say though, Dan, I feel like we got another Secret Galaxy episode here.
I'm sure it's on the list somewhere. Yeah.
I'm pulling up the poster now into the stream or the video, but yeah, that's I did not know this movie existed until this very moment.
Yeah, the tagline is right there. This is no game. It's very serious, Jay. No messing around.
I was of that age. I went to movies every freaking weekend. Like I was going like, wow. Okay. There you go. It existed. Yeah. How well did that movie do? Like, let's see, box office for this film.
Probably about broke even.
All right, let's see. Let's go box office. Oh, I want the original one.
Wikipedia says 45 mil on the budget, 33 on the take.
Yeesh. Not great.
You know, that's Hollywood math. You can cheat that.
Either way, it could be for profit.
Yes, and Quip is pointing out that the Empress in the Middle is very never-ending story.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And Derek Hoover says, Jay didn't know this existed. Zoinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't even exist to me. I was like,
Allison is correct. It did as well as you'd imagine a movie you didn't remember. You did not know existed until 25 years later. How did this get under my radar the entire 25 last years?
I went into.
Is it good?
What's the new dungeon? It's Dungeons and Dragons Into the Dragon. No, it's what's the
Enter the Dragon? No,
Enter the Dragon. It's what's the new movie? It's Honor Amongst Thieves. Honor Amongst Thieves. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, why just call it Dungeons and Dragons? It's the first Dungeons and Dragons movie, yeah, but I guess now it makes sense.
Well, report back soon and let us know what you think of that movie.
I gotta go watch it. No, actually, no, I don't have to go watch it now. I feel like we're okay. All right, so let's go on to the toy line. Looking at some of the research here, I do want to make sure we go into some ones that we didn't cover, like the miniatures and some of the bendies. But yeah, I think what's kind of fascinating, at least kind of going quickly through the research here, is that the cartoon series did outlive the toy line, which I think connects to what we talked about last week, how one of the big problems with the toy line didn't really connect to the cartoon didn't connect to the toy line. So, you know, but
yeah, the cartoon lasted sort longer. Of three completely separate entities: the toys, the cartoon, the actual game. Like there was very, very little overlap between the three.
Yeah, which is kind of weird, right? But whatever, it was a choice.
Yeah,
it didn't work.
Something that would happen today. No.
But even shocking then, like kind of early days of like getting kids latched onto properties, like it was a missed opportunity. Could have been even more popular.
For sure.
All right, let's jump into the releases for 1984. Going to use the Retro Toy Quest website that past guests, probably future guests on the show, Wayne, put together a toy wish book. But this is a heavy hitter. This is a very rare, very expensive figure that, you know, I appreciate and I really like, but I have a feeling Dan's gonna be like, this is ugly and stupid, and why would anyone want this?
It's a little janky. You have one, Jay?
I do. I have one. I have one of these.
All right. Look, it is absolutely, it's something I didn't know existed for years. I love that it does exist, but is it the best tribute to Tiamat? I don't know.
He's endearing. Like, he's got the little flappy paws. You
know? He looks very huggable. That's for sure. He just wants to hug everything. And there's a lot of conversation right now about like, you know, that 4 Horsemen Mythic Legion's dragon. Like,
yes,
sure, it comes with open wings that are huge, but are they huge enough? Are they open enough? You know.
Are they really saying that about the Deeth or whatever?
Oh yeah. No, there are people who are like, they're open, but are they open enough?
Oh my god,
it's like 4-foot wingspan. You know, they're like, what if it was 4.5?
Oh my gosh. Everyone needs to calm down. The thing is, you saw it at Legion's Con, right? It's massive.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. I don't know where I'm going to put it if I get one.
Sorry, she. I think I called Tiamat. It's she.
Sure, she.
But yeah. So are you considering getting bathed here? Yay or nay? Or
I'm on the fence. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's being discussed in my household.
Okay.
As far as like, because I'm trying to be responsible about it, but Kate is like, no, we should definitely get it. We should get 2, in fact. And I'm like, well, let's pull back here. You're at 11. I need you at like 3.
No, I like this. I like this. You know, if I didn't have a cat slayer that I haven't been able to open because it takes up too much space, I would maybe consider it. But 2025, I need to make smarter toy buying
tied to
decisions.
Thundercats, Jay.
I already have a cats. I have the vintage cat slayer. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, you can flip that thing. Get retail price for it. Throw it into a dragon.
Maybe if I sell the cat slayer, which I have listed on Facebook Marketplace, so people in the Raleigh, Durham area, North Carolina,
free pickup,
free pickup. Just pay what I paid for it, and I'll be happy. But then maybe I could make that dragon work. But I think one of the things that's exciting about that dragon, if you're listening, you don't know, Four Horsemen Studios is putting together this. I mean, it's putting up for a crowdfund right now this gigantic dragon in their Mythic Legions toy line. It looks incredible. It's stunning, but it's green, and I kind of want it to be red because of Tiamat.
I was gonna say it's green and only one head, so
yes,
this is probably still the better deal.
I think this Tiamat might be more, if you have a mint with unbroken wings, maybe more than the dang. Like,
if it's in the box, I'll bet it's definitely in the box.
Yeah,
I don't even know how it was packaged. I don't know if I've ever seen it in a box.
I think there's gotta be a package picture here. Let's see.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, look at that art.
Yeah, that's nice art. Yeah, that's real sharp. Oh, I wish it was that big. You'd have to have the minis with it for it to have that kind of scale.
Yeah. I think it's the first time I've actually looked at the art.
Claw grabber legs. So good.
The thing is, like, you're making fun of the hug. That's all it does. It's kind of just a little grabby, huggy kind of.
It looks like the back legs don't move. They're all sort of molded together with the body of the figure. And so it almost, to me, looks like it's like a pullback toy. You know, like it has wheels on the bottom. You would just like, it would like spin around and then go straight and then spin around again. That's what it looks like to me.
It is a very cheap toy. It is like hollow plastic, hard hollow plastic. The necks, at least the side necks, not the red center head, are bendy or kind of bendy, not super bendy.
I didn't know. I've seen them. I've never actually held one.
Well, actually, I guess pull a comment from the chat. I'll grab it real quick just so we can see it in real life. It's right over there.
All right. Tiamat with golf clapping action. Look, it's quaint, you know, for what it is, for being of the time. It's definitely quaint. It's got character. It's got a lot of personality, but it is certainly not scary or intimidating or dangerous looking.
Yeah. So hold on, I'll stop sharing screen. The wings are broken on mine that I got here. I got it from local toy shop in Raleigh called Crow Mag Toys. So at least it was working. Oh, there it is. So it has this kind of.
Oh, okay. It actually does have hugging action. All right.
Yeah. It's kind of gotten a little janky
over
time.
Is that jaw articulated on the red dragon?
Yes. It has a little thingy on it.
All right. Getting better. The Four Horsemen one doesn't do that. Either of those things.
And the side, I guess the four heads on the side are kind of bendy. Okay. And you can kind of twist it a little bit. And then the tail is kind of bendable.
Okay.
And the wings are made of this very cheapo kind of plastic. So I bought it with the wings broken off, but there's kits that you can that'll help you reattach the little wings or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it reminds me of I never saw Shin Godzilla, but I've seen the sort of pictures and whatever, and the sort of evolution that it goes through to get to be the full-size Godzilla. It's like that sort of middle stage when it's like a little baby Godzilla. That's what that reminds me of. Like now it's going to turn into actual adult big Tiamat. Right now it's just kind of cute, you know.
He's cute. Fine. Got a bear claw thing going on.
Yeah.
And little rattlesnake tail. But God, that art, I kind of want to print out this art and like hang it up.
It's real cool. Yeah. It's real good. For sure.
Listening to the audio version, just do yourself a favor, go to retrotoyquest.com or just Google the Tiamat artwork because she looks incredible on this art. All right, so that is Tiamat. Let's go to the next figure. It's like we're starting off with two of the best things from the second year.
I mean, look, for all my comments and being silly about it, it is still one of the sort of grails
of course,
toy collecting for sure.
But owning one, it's not that cool, so don't expect too much from it, I guess.
It's right. It's just the trophy aspect of it. You have
like, I have one. I would like a cooler one. I mean, and Super 7's making it the Tiamat. It's
I saw that I just saw that at Toy Fair. That was the first time I had a chance to see it, and Kate wanted to grab one of those too. So I don't know what's going on now.
You gotta let Kate explore her dragon phase. Okay, you just gotta you gotta be a supportive husband. All right, this next one had a fantastic NECA recreation. It's one of the great figures of the toy line, Grimsword, and just a gnarly looking bad guy in the line. What's your thoughts on Grimsword?
Yeah, it's such a weird armor design.
Yes,
there's just a lot going on here. Obviously, the dude's a fan of snakes. He's got his snake mace, snake shield, snake boot, snake wrapped around his chest armor. A lot going on there, but it's this again. There's nothing else looks like this. Like,
yes,
even Masters of the Universe. This guy doesn't. He's sort of distinctly not Masters, but that's also the only place he would fit in. As far as
like a Snake Man or something.
Yeah, for sure. You got that battle action. You press on that yellow sort of lever on his side, and he torso swings. Get that. A mace at this scale with actual chain. It's not metal, but still, it's got actual chain links there.
Yeah.
And then those, even as a kid, those horns on the head, you just rip them right off because you want to turn them so bad. I just wanted those. I wanted them to point up, and they're just not supposed to. But
I'm
also weird that.
Go ahead.
It's weird that his name is Grimsword and his main weapon is a mace.
He's got a sword there tucked away.
But it's just a little. It's not like the Grimsword,
The question I was going to ask is, it's a good point about the little horns that are kind of horizontal instead of vertical. Does the NECA one, can you adjust them, or are they also set in place?
Yeah, no, you can rotate them. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, no, they're analog. You can put them wherever you want.
get the UHF and VHF.
Timothy Phillips corrects me in chat. Yes, it is a Morning Star, not a mace. My mistake.
Oh my goodness, what's the difference?
I think the chain is what makes the difference.
So a mace is like a stick with
just
the
fixed,
spiky ball.
Fixed, right? Yeah.
Okay, and a Morning Star is with the chain. I didn't know. See, I'm learning.
I'm guessing.
There's a 2000 Dungeons and Dragons movie, and there is
you got a lot of stuff to catch up on.
I know. I'm getting learned today. This one had the little slingshotty version as well, but really cool.
Sexy thigh-high boots too.
Yeah. And one of the knees has a little snake with a little tongue coming out.
That's
too.
right. Yeah.
Just so much stuff. Card art. I gotta say, I'm looking at it now. It's kind of. It's not as cool.
It's not as cool. It's certainly not as cool as Warduke or some of the others for sure. And it's
blue.
a weird helmet. It's a weird helmet, and I wasn't sure I really understood what the helmet was. It's kind of like beakish, and there are like old medieval jousting helmets and stuff that have that sort of pointy beak kind of thing. It's gonna that lance when it comes in is gonna deflect off of your instead of just smashing you in the face. But they definitely interpreted it as a bit flatter, and I'm not sure which look I prefer.
I think the flatter, because then the eyes look a little bit more menacing when there's not a little beak on it, I think. But I don't like the blue. I like the gray on, I guess it's chainmail or a snake mail.
Probably scale mail, maybe.
Scale mail. That's it. That's right.
If you want to attack him from the right. You can't see anything past that shoulder pad.
So yeah, there you go. Grimsword, one of the guns.
Just
all right,
classic, for sure.
So good. All right, let's move on to the next release. Is Drex. I have never owned this figure, And watch, I'm gonna say I don't like this one, and Dan's like, no, this is the best one of the wave. But for me, this one's kind of just like, meh. I don't have him, and I don't think I ever need him.
Yeah, he's interesting. I honestly, this is one that I always forget exists. I've never had a complete collection of Dungeons and Dragons. I love his skulls. He's got cool skulls. Looks like a shorter figure, maybe a little taller, probably in that elven range, I'm guessing.
Yes.
I don't know if we have any side by sides here, but
he is shorter. Well, like he's kind of a chunky boy. Trying to see if there's a picture of him in this little cross cell, but he's not in the cross cell. But
yeah, I like his look. I think it's interesting that more than one character came with, a shield that had a sort of, painted, multicolored, almost like Avatar kind of look to it. That's also like a Star Trek
yes,
logo.
It is.
I don't know what that's not engineering. I'm not sure what that is. But I dig it. I don't know what's going on with his chest, because that is definitely not like armor that he's wearing. His chest is just like a skull with snakes on it.
My guess is tattoo. What does the art look like? I don't know.
It's just there. Yeah.
It's just snakes on his chest.
Yeah. I'm guessing, yeah, based on the art, it's probably supposed to be more like tattoos, but man, it is out there. It is embossed.
3D tattoos. They had them invented.
Yeah, exactly. There. Yeah.
Rick Jones says he invented death metal.
I don't hate this one. He's got some sort of Calabac kind of vibes, you know. Steppenwolf, those two guys from DC.
I can see that.
And yeah, it's he picked a motif and he just leaned into it. I can respect that.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's pretty good. But again, I've never had him, and I'm not like dying that I don't have him. All right. Going on to the next character. It is going to be Zorgar. And he's like, did he steal some of Warduke's armor?
Yeah, I think he's got Warduke's other leg. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. These have to be like real late in the line, because
yes.
I noticed that they're all the Battlematic, which is definitely that sort of second run for it's like the 1.5s of the GI Joes. They redid Strongheart, redid Warduke.
Yeah.
Because these are all characters that I have no connection to, absolutely never saw them. I'm sure I've seen them at like toy shows and toy stores and stuff.
Sure.
But, have absolutely no connection to them whatsoever. Once again, got to give them credit though for the paint apps here and the number of different colors on this thing. Those chains are painted cleanly. His teeth are painted. The studs on the leather bands around his right leg are all painted. That's a nice job.
Well, I mean, this is 1984. Is there a toy line that actually has more paint apps per square inch of a figure than these right now? I'm thinking through my head.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely, I was going to say larger figures, but, maybe just larger than Star Wars and G.I. Joe.
Yeah, but smaller than Motu. But really, like, if you look at that 3 3/4 inch scale type of figure, or maybe like the Kenner 4-inch, maybe, even like Superpower started in 84, they didn't have this many paint apps on them. So
it's impressive. Yeah, no, that's having no real connection to this specific figure. That's one thing that really jumps out to me.
Yeah.
Blacks, the browns, the silvers, a lot going on there.
Yeah. But again, like the year 2 art is just not as strong. Like this is kind of,
it's not as iconic. No, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of that can definitely be chalked up to the fact that character is just not as visually iconic as some of those wave ones.
The
evil and Zorgar, that's not Warduke.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's my question. Last week we criticized young male Titan as a name.
Yes, we did.
So would you have preferred evil barbarian or Zorgar?
Yeah, Zorgar is definitely the way to go, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, no, anything's better than young male Titan. That is just an identifier. That's not a name. That's not an identity.
But anywho, yeah, I agree. He's not a very compelling character design. He's fine. He's just like a generic barbarian.
He looks like the Dreadnought. He's a Dreadnought of the bad guys.
Yep. Agreed. Let's keep moving on here to a lovely knight by the name of Deeth. That's some notes on the name, I guess. What's our thoughts on old Deeth?
I don't know. This guy looks like it looks like a child. First,
it does look like a child. Maybe Deeth is a powerful fighter who is capable of defeating any and all evildoers in combat. Since childhood, it's a she. Okay, cool.
Okay.
She has trained as a warrior with many weapons. She is feared by many because she uses her sword of light and battle mace. Here it says battle mace and its chains. I'm just saying, just putting it out there. With
Quip is saying flail. Quip is saying flail.
Flail. Listen, the card art says it's a mace. Join forces with other good fighters when it is necessary. Okay. So it's a female figure. So that may be the more softer features of it.
I guess. I don't know. We were just watching the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe movie the other day, the one from like 2005 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah, it was good. And then we were actually just watching Prince Caspian right after it.
Nice.
So all I can see here is Edmund, the younger of the two brothers, even though this is supposed to be a female character, that just the sort of like helmet that feels almost oversized, you know, and it's not quite fitting right, and you're just trying to fit into an adult's armor. But in terms of character design, I dig it. Nice, almost like Strongheart, like a stereotypical, just kind of a traditional sort of knight. I really do like the shield, and it's interesting looking at this line and thinking about, we were just talking about Four Horsemen and the dragon and stuff. There's quite a few characters in their lore that have these shields that have the sort of avatar of their god or whatever on them, and it's very clearly sort of, I would guess, inspired by this.
Yeah, no, I could absolutely see that. It's a great call out. I like the maroon kind of purple. Again, great paint apps on this figure. Just kind of decked out, and the accessory too. We're getting, Timothy Phillips says, not a mace, cool Kalari.
Kaliri.
Cool. It's probably like weapons experts, but like
he's just messing with us now.
But still, like it's the red of the links and then the yellow. Even though it's like a bit of corn on the handle side, it's still really cool.
Yeah, no, it's a great accessory. You got two weapons and the shield and a cloth goods cape with a tiniest little silver thread going around the neck there.
I know. You have to buy it mock to open it and have it complete, because I bet you those things break really easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Deeth. Deeth, good fighter. Better than just being called good fighter still?
Yes.
What do you think about the name?
Any name is better than no name. And any name is better than young male titan.
Even if it rhymes with teeth?
It's fine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep moving on here. We got another knight. This one I do have in my collection. It is Bowmarc, and he is repping some primary colors over white.
This is very busy. This one is super busy. There's a lot going on here. It's got that black bolt fork on his head.
Yep.
Also, Bowmarc sounds like something. It sounds like it's a company that supplies like paper goods to movie theaters. Like that sounds like.
Old Bowmarc.
Yeah. Did you place the Bowmarc order? We're out of paper towels.
Oh, crap, I forgot. Gotta go to Costco now.
Yeah.
But I agree on the business. There's just something to. I don't like the white plastic, because it looks like white plastic to me is spacesuit, and it feels spacesuit always. Even though this is sculpted as a knight's armor thing, just if you look at it from afar, it's like, oh, cool, it's a pretty cool spacesuit or something. Like,
Quip's right. He does kind of look like a chicken,
and it does actually. Yes, good call, Quip. So I if it was silver, I feel like it would be cooler, because what is this white representing? Is it like really, really, really silver armor? Like, I don't know.
I think it's just white. I think it's just painted white. It's supposed to be. I don't know. But it definitely takes away from any sense that it could be metal for sure.
Right.
And yeah, a lot of thigh-high boots in this line.
You need to protect them thighs. You know?
Yeah, it's save on chainmail, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly.
Very, very like busy, a lot going on that shield. You got the lion mirrored from the chest emblem onto the shield, and all the same colors in the shield that are on the figure. I do like, just like with Grimsword, I like that there is a bit of a sheath there. It's not a sheath, it's like a hook for the sword to fit in there. And interesting that the primary weapon is the axe. And yeah, it's, who said it in chat there? Philip said it in chat. His name's Bowmarc. You would expect him to have a bow.
Well, Grimsword doesn't have a sword, so
it's just not. It's not a particularly interesting sword. It's a boring sword. It's not the sword you name yourself after.
And actually, that's not an axe. It's a double Sharpie. I don't know if you knew that. It's an axe. It's just it's an axe. Battle axe is what it's called here. The old battle axe for old Bowmarc. Sorry, Bowmarc. You're no strong heart. And speaking of bows, let's go to the next character who does have a bow and arrow. His name is Hawkler.
I like Hawkler. Hawkler's cool.
He's cool.
Yeah.
He's a woodsman. He's like a Robin Hood kind of guy.
I'm always 1984. I'm down for anybody that comes with a pet.
Yeah.
For sure.
When is Spirit in G.I. Joe?
83, I think.
Okay, so this is after that. But yeah, I love the figure. Other than this poor guy looked like he hasn't slept in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. He's got
it's not the best haircut. No.
In his eyes, he looks stressed.
I like the little strap for his knife on his chest.
Yeah, that's cool. Fun.
Yeah, no, this is definitely one of the merry men. This guy would hang out with Robin Hood for sure.
And again, just all the paint apps, like the what is that called? Not the where you put the bows in for your the
quiver?
Arrows in quiver. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's got multiple paint apps. It's yellow and brown, green with light beige, dark brown, light brown, silver for the knife in his boot.
Yeah.
Eyebrows are painted, pupils are painted. It's.
Yeah, I would say if they missed anything, that his arm guard on the left arm for the bow probably could have used a little bit more, because it looks like there's studs on that, and it looks like there's studs on the snap for the bird. I'm not surprised there's no paint on the bird, but definitely a couple of spots on that arm guard that could have used some paint. But overall, I mean, yeah, that detail of the knife with the brown straps on the boot, all those colors right next to each other like that, looks good.
Yeah, a lot of accessories. Hawkler. People are also saying in the chat Hawktaler or Hawkta.
They're trying. Easier to type than say. I'm gonna ignore that price tag on the screen there.
Oh no, don't look. Sorry. Hopefully you forget by the time we get to it.
It's tiny. I can't read it.
All right, let's go to the next figure here. And it is Mandoom.
I wish this one had a name.
Does this strike fear into you, Mandoom?
Oh yeah, look at that very surprised lion face on his shield. These man, my biggest disappointment about Toy Fair was that NECA didn't have any new Dungeons and Dragons figures, and I really feel like this line has so much potential for a character like this.
Yes,
to get reinvented into something really, really cool.
Right?
I really feel like they could have done it justice. All of these characters, even Young Male Titan, they could have done something really exciting with.
Absolutely. I'm curious. Like, clearly, it's like if they sold a bunch, they would have done more, I would assume. Mm-hmm. So maybe just there wasn't that much demand for it, or whatever. But
hard to say. Yeah. Maybe they needed to tie in the Predators and the Aliens somehow
to a crossover, or TMNT. Like, really, just
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Turtles Through Time through D&D.
Yeah, I don't know that we needed to paint the eyeliner and the eyeballs and the eyebrows on the lion. I don't think we needed that.
I look at the eyes like bulging out of the side over here. It's
yeah, it is definitely creepy. Chat says it's very Muppety. It's definitely very Muppety. Like he's got a button on the back of it that can make it talk.
Something of note though, I like the kind of shiny copper color of the paint. I think that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Or not the is it the plastic? I think is that it's not even painted.
Got a real Roman centurion thing going on here.
Yeah. He's kind of cool. Again, I don't think I'd ever need to buy him though.
Yeah. Was that? Oh yeah. Does it actually shoots off? The lion face shoots off. Yeah. Because what were these called? There's a name for these.
Battle. Shield? Yeah. It's shield shooter.
Shield shooter. That's what it is. Yeah.
Shield shooter. Action. Okay. Now that you know it's the Muppet lion head shoots out, does that make you like it more?
No. No, I don't. That does not help. I like that the helmet is removable. That's cool. But yeah, we could have scaled down the eyes too. He is very surprised.
Yes.
Scale that down just a little bit.
It looks like a sculpture. It looks like a Roman sculpture or something.
It does. Yeah.
But yeah, there's stuff there to like. But yes, definitely some notes on old Mandoom.
Mandoom. Oh, what a name.
How about this one? Mettaflame.
Interesting.
Woo. Look at a mug on that guy.
What, are we a troll? What are we? What does it say on the box?
Let's see on the box.
Dark elf.
Evil fire giant. So this is a giant.
Fire giant. Okay. All right. Interesting. I love it from the neck down.
Yeah.
I don't love the face, cool. Love the head, but yeah, the sort of armor, all the studs everywhere. Again, just multiple colors. This one I don't mind, the flaming what do we got? Panther face?
Wolf?
What is that on the wolf?
What's yeah, it doesn't say what it is.
I think you're right. It's probably more wolf.
Yeah, wolf.
Wolfish. I dig it. Removable helmet.
Yes, I love purple and I love yellow. So yeah, I do love, again, just the paint apps. I love the paint apps. It really pops. It's the thing that keeps me coming back to why I wanted to collect. One of the many reasons I wanted to collect this line is just on a shelf. There's just so many different colors. Each figure has so many different colors. Like, it does stand out. But yeah, his face needs some orthodontic work or something.
Yeah, just see if we could bring that guard down a little, that mask, just a little. Put the visor right over all of this. To help out. We
should protect your mouth. Sir.
Yeah, it's a safety concern for you, for us, for everybody.
But yeah, there you go. All right, let's keep moving on. That's it. That is the last figure. We have the unreleased stuff soon, but thoughts on, before we get to unreleased or some of the miniatures and bendies, thoughts on the second year of the actual official releases?
It's tough because, again, I didn't know about it until the line was already dead, but by the time I found out about it as a kid, so I don't really have that much of a kid attachment to it, other than the 2 or 3 figures that we own: Grimsword, Strongheart, Morduke, and then years later sort of rediscovering those specific figures and reacquiring them. So all of these, there's got to be, I don't know, 10 different figures that I just didn't know about for a good 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
And so it's hard you can't retroactively, recreate nostalgia, in connection. So I could see how some of these figures would have appealed to me at the time if I had actually, been exposed to them, if I had owned them, if I had had long summer afternoons to just mess around with them, play, and, create my own adventures.
Yeah.
But looking at them now, I can't help but say, that guy looks like a zombie. I can't help but say, I wish they were modern interpretations of these characters.
Yes. So, hopefully at some point, maybe NECA gets back into it, or
I really, really hope so. I feel like it's dead at this point. They've never confirmed that it is, and probably never will.
Yeah.
But I hope they do.
Or maybe there's just enough time passed. Like, let's try it again. Let's just try. All right, let's just quickly talk about some of the miniature figures. Any thoughts on these? So a lot of toy lines had these miniature figures back in the day. Where were you at on these, or really any miniature figures back?
I love tiny figures. When G.I. Joe had their minifigures, those were great. When Transformers did the spies or whatever they were, like one color, maybe a single paint app on the face or something, the rub symbol. I remember every kid going nuts over those things. Like, forget the fact that like full Dinobots existed and combiners and whatever. It was like, no, I need this tiny little pocket-sized thing that is an actual pullback toy.
Like
people just went nuts over that. And obviously Micro Machines starts around the same time. Well, probably more like 86, I think. But yeah, tiny stuff was just so awesome. I don't recall ever seeing the micro figures back in the day. It wasn't something I knew about until much later. I think if I had been into actually playing D&D properly at the time, I would have been all over these.
Yep. Timothy says in the chat, yeah, like using these as miniatures for the game. And absolutely, like they kind of fit perfectly with that. And again, true to the toy line, a lot of paint apps on these. Like they don't really spare the paint on the little ones as well. I was kind of, sometimes I love miniature and sometimes I didn't care at all. But if I did, or maybe that was the only option I had sometimes, then I would go with the miniature figure. But
I think it's great. I like having lots of different scales now of characters because if you have something like a Sentinel or Galactus or whatever else, Galactus is meant to interact with your 6-inch Marvel Legends. But if you have a tiny little Spider-Man, if you have a tiny little Fantastic Four, it's even, it changes the scale of the whole thing. It's even more interesting. So these pair better with that Tiamat than the full-size figures do.
I need to get a set of those now so I can just, have my Tiamat be more imposing and not so cuddly.
Spending Jay's money.
And then so they also had a bunch of Bendy toys. And again, Bendy toys were prolific, well before the 80s, but through the 80s into the 90s. What was your stance on Bendy toys, and then I guess these Bendy toys that
so I'll say that Bendy toys were always the worst possible thing you could get, right?
Yes.
Like they don't bend well, they don't stay well, and if you over manipulate a limb, inevitably the piece of metal wire would poke through.
Exactly.
And that's the end of that, and that does happen with a lot of these things. Back when I was a reseller, the Hydra, all of those necks on the Hydra are Bendy, and those absolutely popped through at one point. That said, I do remember, I'm not sure if it's part of this line or a different line that was out at the time. I think it was a different line that was out at the time, sort of being sold next to this. There was like a Griffin character that was head of a lion, had bat wings and whatever. And it was 100% non-posable.
Okay.
It's not that Chimera. No, it was a different one. And I thought that thing was great. Absolutely no articulation whatsoever, just a plastic brick. And I played with it all the time.
We'll have to figure out which one that was, but I agree that just Bendy figures were the worst possible solution. And whenever, and it would always, and it still enrages me to this day, like when certain toy lines, that was kind of all you had. That was the only, the Rocketeer. That one still frustrates me to this day, that the official Rocketeer toy was a Bendy Rocketeer.
Yeah.
It infuriated me. And then
the worst.
And then when Star Wars in the Dark Ages, when they had the Bendoms, in between, before Power of the Force 2 brought action figures back for Star Wars, those Star Wars Bendoms, I hated them.
Absolute slap in the face. Just an absolute, the most disrespectful thing you could possibly produce with a license.
Right. And I remember I was like, this is the only option I have. I was born too late to buy new ones. I only have hand-me-down Kenner Star Wars figures. No. And so I got to flesh out the ranks here with some crappy Bendies. It was awful.
Yeah, no, and terrible. The fact that they made an R2-D2 Bendy figure is just I'm going to cut to the gif of the shot of Anakin being burned up by lava, going, I hate you. That's me to all those figures. I hate you.
Especially because that R2-D2 is terrible. And then
how do you make a bendy R2-D2? What bends?
the arms did.
I know, I've had one.
So bad.
That's it. I have the Boba Fett, of course.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's the Bendies, and then let's close things out here with the unreleased figures, going back to NECA, because they in 2022 released the unreleased figures, which was pretty cool. Did you happen to get that set or at least see it?
No. I saw it. It absolutely no appeal to me whatsoever. The only vintage figures I have are Warduke and Strongheart. That's it, and their horses. That's it.
I mean, really, that's all you need. It's cool. I got the set. I got it at Comic-Con. But I will say that none of these figures are like, oh my god, I need them. But the last wave was Skyla, Pulveri, Valkyr, and a retooled release of Kellic dubbed as I don't want to use the word because I feel like it's kind of mean, but Kellic by the collectors, Big Kellic. But yeah, I think these are fine. If you missed out on these, I don't think you missed out on anything.
Yeah, it's not like it wasn't such a popular line and so big that, you know, it was the thing people had been like dreaming about for 40 years, right?
Yes.
Like it's neat that they found these obscure characters and managed to produce them and put them out there for fans and have something else new for the vintage line. But it's not like other lines like Masters of the Universe where people are like, oh, Hero's they were gonna make him and they didn't make Hero. You know, it's like that's cool that they made that, you know, but this is just like, it's not that big a deal.
Because also just the designs aren't really that compelling. There's not a secret War Duke in here. There's not a secret Grimsword, or it's like, wow, they slept on this one. It's like, I see
why. You only could have lasted one more wave. Yeah, it's not.
It would have saved the land. No. And then we had Bullet. It was an unproduced monster. That's to the left. And the designs and parts were reused and reworked for a Thundercats Lizor, which was it really called Lizor, Allison? I feel like Lizor. I'm just thinking of Liz Lemon, or I'm Lizzing. Lizzo, but Lizor, but as unreleased. So Bullet. It's kind of cool, I guess. No, it's not.
I like
cool.
The one on the left better.
The left is better.
The left is better for sure. Super 7, get on that one.
Allison says it was called Lizor. Okay, there you go. Look at them.
They look like they have modular parts. Like you can swap heads and tails and stuff.
Good call. It's like a shark and a lizard because he has a little shark fin, not the unproduced one.
Yeah, I don't know. The one on the right looks like one of those like finger puppet monster things,
or like an imperial kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah, knockoff mount kind of.
Trent, we have something in the chat is disagreeing with us. Trent and Hancock, you're both insane. The unreleased NECA D&D figures are amazing.
I didn't say no one was dreaming about those figures.
How dare you, Dan? How dare us? Sorry, Trenton. And then we had a Bendy, a Behir, a blue dragon centipede type creature, shown as an illustration wave 1 catalog for retailers, never materialized as a toy. Or it wasn't a Bendy, it's just the name Behir. That's kind of a cool dragon. I kind of wish that got made. Like a centipede dragon. No, not feeling it, Dan?
I mean, if it was just going to be one of those like Bendy figures, you could have told me that was one of them, and I would have said, yeah, I remember it. I remember.
Okay, but maybe it's not Bendy. I think maybe I misinterpreted.
Okay, more like a Tiamat kind of thing. I got you.
Yeah, maybe a Tiamat.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a what's they call it, a dragon, like a worm, like a WY or something.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Kind of has that vibe.
Yeah.
And then
this would work as a real good pullback toy, I think. Put some wheels on it.
And then the wheels go. But it's kind of cool. And then we've got these Power Creatures wind-ups. There's only one of them, Cave Fisher, making it into stores. So that's this kind of weird, I don't know, this guy right here.
This feels like you lost the plot. This is just, I don't know what this is.
Is this Jump the Shark? The next one.
Yeah, no, this is, you just aren't even like, somebody's just trying to follow numbers or something. And you're like, what is this? This is not D&D. Get out of here.
And then we have a plushie.
All right, that's cute.
Okay,
that's a griffin. That's cute.
Yeah, it's a griffin toy, but never made it past the prototype. This is the prototype. And then we have an unreleased playset, Dan. There was a prototype for a second play set that would also double as a carrying case. The snake theme play set appeared in year 2. Catalog featured a jail cell, which I know you're a fan of, Dan, and folded out, but there are no pictures of the inside or anything to give it further detail than this one picture. So just based on this one picture, Dan, what do you think about this play set?
I pulled up real quick because I couldn't remember exactly. It feels very much like the roller coaster ride, the
yes.
dark ride that they go into on the opening of the cartoon.
Yes.
So I'm looking at it and I'm saying maybe that's where they got some inspiration for it from it. But it's not very close. It's just kind of like a, the one in the cartoon is like a dragon head with dragon head with yellow eyes and stuff. This is like,
I thought it was red. I don't know why I was thinking it was red.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch for that toy. I mean,
it's got a jail, Dan. That's one of your requirements.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love it. This to me feels like the sort of what is it, the fright zone. It feels like the fright zone of this playset, where it's like not as big and spectacular as Castle Grayskull or Snake Mountain. Just kind of. But I do like the fact that it's got 2 doors down there, a little ladder on the side,
double doors, little ladder.
Hey, look, I need to spend an afternoon in the summer of 1986 with it to really let you know if it's going to work for me.
And that's great call out, Allison. The spider door, it's got a cool spider door.
Yeah, spider door, snake bars. Yeah, it's got everything going on. I think it's a little too cute, is what it is.
That's fair. I think it is. I think it's just the red and the yellow makes it kind of, I don't want to say baby toy, but it kind of has that.
You need to fang it up a little bit more. Really get those fangs more pronounced.
Exactly. And that rounds out, Dan, the LJN Dungeons and Dragons toy line. And we have one last thing to do, Dan, and that is to name the original retail price. We didn't do last week, so let me get that up real quick. Any guesses for standard release figures?
So we're talking like Warduke and Strongheart, those kinds of characters.
Yes.
Regular or Battle-matic? I'm stalling.
I've got the 83 pulled up, so just the regular, no Battle-matic.
Okay. I'm gonna say $4.
A little over $2.99.
Almost said $3. Dang.
So close. Oh, this is nice. People in the chat can play along too. Quip, you were wrong. I'm so sorry. All right. The mounts. So the the horsies, dragons. Yeah.
I'll say $8.
I'll give it to you $5.99 to $8.99.
All right. Cool.
All right, and then we'll close out 83 with the Fortress of Fangs.
I don't know, man. 25.
I think you got $24 to $27.
Nice.
I'm curious, because it's a really good play set.
There's a lot of pieces in that thing,
right?
It's a lot of plastic.
Because
we got it like $25 then is like $75 now.
Right? Yeah. Let's see. So 1983, $25, $25. Oh crap! It is $80. It's a lot of money.
That's hefty.
Yeah, Allison, do you remember what a Grayskull was by any chance? Because I'd be curious, if it was more spendy or less spendy than a Castle Grayskull. Because if you're a parent and the Castle Grayskull is $19, that's good enough. You don't need Fortress of Fangs.
It's way bigger.
It's green. It's got a face on it. Grayskull is $19 and $20. Okay, so a little bit cheaper. That's expensive. That is expensive. All right, and then let's go to 84 prices. All right, any guesses for good old Tiamat?
I feel like that's less extravagant than a playset. So
it is.
I'll say 50. The horses were 10, 12. The horses were 12. I'm gonna say 15 on Tiamat.
15. Close. $17.99.
Okay. The logic was sound.
Yeah, you were close. You're ballpark. Just for inflation, that's $55. I'll tell you what. If I spent $55 on this,
you'd be happy. Yeah.
But also it's just as a toy that wasn't like a vintage expensive toy. I don't know if I would have been cool with $55. It's kind of just a chunk of plastic.
Yeah. Again, it's not about the thing itself. It's about the
Yes.
honor of having it in your
Yes.
collection.
Let's see. How about the minis? And Andy on the mini costs.
Well, they came as a set, right? I don't think they were actually sold individually.
They did have individual ones. I have a price for individuals and the gift set.
Well, geez, the individuals got to be. They can't be more than $1.
They were.
What? Weren't the figures $3? Didn't we just say the figures were like $3?
$3. Yeah.
Why would you buy a mini then?
I don't know. $199. $199. Yeah.
That's insane. So what were there? 6 in the full set or 8?
Fudge. Let me pull it back up real quick. I'm seeing 6 in the mini gift set.
So they better give you a discount there. It can't be $12. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Is it 10?
It is $10.
Jeez, no way.
$10.
No way. This is why this line failed. Nobody could afford it. What is this, Brave Star?
That's wild. Okay, so for those 6 minis, I see why it has so many paint apps.
Yeah.
Adjusted for inflation, $30.
Yeah.
For 6 miniatures.
Yeah, you should have thrown a couple snake eyes in there.
Right?
No paint apps.
Okay, bendable monsters. The bendies.
Was there a standard price across them? I mean, I guess.
Yes,
and we didn't even. So there was the bendies, but there's also some totally non-posable figures.
Yes, there's like PVC
minotaurs and stuff. Yeah, there's like PVC figures.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, those things can't be more. They can't be as much as a regular figure, right? There's no middle between the mini. No.
Higher. Yep.
$5.
$5.
This is why this line absolutely tanked and was at Christmas tree shop and discount places for 75% off.
There you go.
That's crime.
The original retail price. It does make sense though why it failed, because if you've got a Masters of the Universe figure, which is bigger, kind of the same feel, same genre, more bang for your buck, a parent is going to choose Masters for their children, not Dungeons and Dragons.
Absolutely. All day long.
But still a great toy line. Final thoughts for me is I didn't have it as a kid, but it's one of those ones I got into as an adult collector, and I really dig it. But in retrospect, you can kind of just see why it didn't work. It didn't match with the cartoon, all those things. But as someone that didn't really have an attachment to either of those things, I thought they're cool toys. And that Fortress of Fangs playset is still one of my favorite playsets of all time.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think it's even though it's a little bit more deeper cut, not super deep cut, but not as popular as some of the other 80s stuff that we've covered and will cover, but still a cool toy line.
Yeah, no, as far as vintage toy collecting stuff goes, it is absolutely a fantastic line of figures, some great engineering, obviously, paint apps and stuff, accessories, and just some iconic characters in there. Not all of them, but some of them very, very iconic. Obviously, Warduke is always going to have a place in my heart and my collection.
Yeah.
Love it. Love everything about it. Absolutely do not care anything about what his actual in-world origin story, relationships, any of that nonsense are. He exists because if he was in the cartoon for 1 episode, 2 episodes, I never saw those episodes, so I didn't have that baggage. I know there's 1 module or 2 or whatever that has Strongheart and Warduke in it. Never read it, didn't know it existed. So this guy was just a blank slate for me to tell whatever stories I wanted to tell. And all I have is the information that's presented by the figure itself.
Yeah.
And so he'll always be that thing to me. And that's why he'll always be special to my collection.
It's not to psychoanalyze you, but I think it's telling for you that your favorite characters are the ones that you could you imprinted on like its own story, because they didn't have anything it was kind of yours to tell with like Boba Fett or Snake Eyes or Warduke.
And those are traditionally, right, like the most interesting characters and stuff, right? Like even a character like Wolverine or whatever is far more interesting until you find out who he actually is.
Yes.
You're like, oh, that's it? Oh, okay, well, I don't really care anymore. But yeah, and Spider-Man, Peter Parker and whatever.
Sure.
But characters with masks are far more relatable and far more interesting because you can put anybody you want in there.
Yeah. It's cool. It's very cool. All right. Well, that will wrap up Dungeons and Dragons. We do know what's coming up next, Dan. So should we announce it here?
Why not? Why not?
So kind of coinciding with Star Wars Celebration, we thought it'd be fun to dive into a Star Wars line, and not just any Star Wars line, one that we've talked about, and we've had a lot of guests on the show, and they've mentioned this toy line as the reason they became toy collectors. Not going for the original vintage series. We're going to cover Power of the Force 2, the triumphant return of Star Wars. So successful, Star Wars has never left shelves since.
Yeah.
But we're covering the original Power of the Force 2 toy line. I'm really excited about this one.
I'm gonna have to go back and look to see, because Power of the Force 2 technically is only like 2 years, I think. And then it starts to bleed into like Power of the Jedi and other stuff, I
think it's 4 years. Alice and I kind of mapped it out. I think it's like 4 years, but I think we'll split it up because it's a lot.
Okay.
It's Allison, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it was like
maybe 95 to 2000.
Yeah, 95 to 2000. And after like the first year, we're gonna have to like split them up because there's so
many figures. Yeah.
So many figures. And we can talk about Buff Luke. Like we just got
Hey, it wasn't like I was already back into toy collecting at the time. Like I had been going, and we'll obviously talk about this.
Yeah.
But in terms of figures that I still currently have, like I don't have a lot of vintage in my personal collection. I basically have things that were really important to me as a kid. I haven't gone and like I have a bunch of Masters of the Universe stuff. We covered this. I have a bunch of Masters of the Universe stuff, but I don't have the whole collection. I just have the pieces that I owned as a kid that were really important to me as a kid. Power of the Force 2 is one where, I've cleared out a lot of stuff from my personal collection in the last several years. But I am still very attached to some of those figures in there. And I'm like,
it's I don't want to get ahead of myself.
No, we don't tell all the stories now.
But absolutely. It's just such a very visceral emotional connection to that toy line, and I can't wait to dive into it. And I know we'll have some fun guests along the way because I know it's a big toy line for so many people. So stay tuned to that. Should be a lot of fun. But that will be next. But so basically the way this recording order will go, we'll next week will be a week off, even though we're recording this week because that's just how the scheduling will work. But so off next week, and then following that week, we will kick off the Power of the Force toy line, which should be a lot of fun to dive into. But anywho, that's it. Dan, anything coming up for you this week on the old Secret Guide?
This week is a member video. So if you're a YouTube channel member for us or a Patreon member, you will get to see the history of Cheers, which we shot at a bar. We shot at an actual bar.
Fun.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits. One of the benefits of being an adult trying to do this stuff is that people who like own bars, and you can be like at a last minute, just be like, "Hey, we're shooting a thing. Can we come over and shoot it at your bar?" And like, yeah, sure, why not?
Oh, that's fun. Okay, but how do you because you have a very controlled studio environment? Like, what was the production?
We shot it before they were opened. They didn't open until 11. We were there at 8 a.m.
Badass. Oh, I love Cheers.
Yeah.
Especially just has very distinct eras as well, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. A lot of interesting history there. Things I didn't know for sure.
Oh man. Okay. That's exciting. Well worth the membership because your membership's it's a low barrier to entry for either Patreon or YouTube,
like
right? Yeah, $1. So yeah, that's awesome. Badass. Excited for that. I'm a member, so I will or Patreon. I'm not a YouTube member. I'm a Patreon member. Yeah. But anyway, awesome. Definitely look forward to that. And big thanks to Allison Troy, as always, especially this time putting the unproduced figures in a slideshow and everything like that. Really appreciate you, Allison, all the work you do. Until next time, everybody.
Yeah, hey, you know what? Real quick, I just want this is we're not gonna do all of these live. Like
it's a one-time thing.
Special thing. I didn't even know about it until we actually went live. But let me say this: it is way easier to just go, "Hey, Allison, what's the answer to this question?"
Yes.
Than it is to be like, scrolling. I think it was in there. Just like, hey, can you just tell us what it is in chat? Just make it easier. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
It was really nice. It was really nice. Oh my goodness. On that note, we'll see you all next time. Hasta luego and goodbye.
Later.